a couple minutes after I verify everything is going. I've got my dad of a 2-month-old look going on, which is fine. That's the way it is. Hi, DCD. Hi, Mark. Seems like you can hear me. Hi, DJ Devin 3. Hi, Sam. Almost missed you. Hi, Johnny. All right. Looks like folks are joining, so we'll get started. So hello, everyone. My name is Scott. I go by TanNewt online, and I work for Adafruit on CircuitPython primarily, although I do other random stuff sometimes. So Adafruit is an open source hardware and software company based out of New York City. I live and work in Seattle, so I work remotely for Adafruit. You can go to adafruit.com, purchase hardware there. For example, let me see, here's a Feather. My desk is very dirty. Feather RP2040, so this is an example of what Adafruit sells. So there's a USB port here. You can plug in and load code onto this tiny computer here called a microcontroller. This is an RP2040, so you can load CircuitPython and then it'll show up as a drive and you can add a Python code on it. So CircuitPython is a version of Python designed for little tiny computers called microcontrollers, like those on those boards. And it's meant to really make it seamless to get started programming these tiny computers. This is Deep Dive. It happens normally at 2 p.m. Pacific here on Adafruit, the Adafruit streams. Phil says, Latorno says, wait, Zephyr is being ported to CircuitPython? I think it's more the reverse. We're building CircuitPython on top of Zephyr. Yeah, we'll get there. Hi, Timon. We'll get there soon. Yeah, so Deep Dive, this is just whatever I'm working on. It's 2 hours long. I'm happy to answer questions like I just did for Phil. So if you have more questions, feel free to drop them in the chats. There's 2 chats on screen. One is the YouTube chat and one is the Discord chat. This Discord chat lasts all week long, and I'm on there during the work week. You can go to the URL adafru.it/discord to join there. Hello, Paul on Discord. And the YouTube stream does have quite a delay because I have the auto captions on, but it should be available on Twitch with a little less delay if you want to be interacting and you don't need the closed captions. Yeah, so we're hanging out for 2 hours unless I got to go get the kid at daycare, but I don't think that's super likely. I thought it might happen earlier, but no, looks all good. Yeah, so let's just wrap up CircuitPython 2025. It'll be pretty quick. So CircuitPython 2025 is, Phil says, oh, okay, that makes way more sense. Yes. Yeah, I don't know what Zephyr on top of CircuitPython would mean. Yeah, we'll get there in just a bit. So let's go to the desktop. And it looks like, oh, I got the height just right. So we wrapped up CircuitPython 2025. This is kind of our annual planning. We want to hear from folks about what they've been working on. We only got a couple since the last stream that I could think of. So Mark, who's in the chat, and Arun, who's not, posted. And I'll verify I'm human. Arun had 2. One is circup support over USB serial, which I filed an issue for and would be nice. And then Arun also wants Zigbee support on the C6, which is not as high on my list, but they thought maybe they'd look at it too. And they opened an issue for that to track as well. So those are 2 ideas for this year that Arun had. And then Mark said, happy that I looked into audio effects after thinking about it for years. There's still more to do there. Hi, M4TK. And then Mark just said, like, I just want to hang out. Yeah, Zephyr, CircuitPython Zephyr port. Yeah, like the term port is a bit of a like specific Python thing. Should I move my mic a little bit? It looks like it's off center. Yeah, so those are the last two. Thanks to everybody who did CircuitPython 2025. It's exciting to see what people want to get out of what you want to do with CircuitPython. So my big one, let's talk Zephyr. So Phil is getting excited for Zephyr, I think. So we had some discussion in December about how I'm going to be out a lot this year. How could we support more platforms easily? And then there were some other discussions, like we've done a third Bluetooth stack, which is annoying, and things like that. So Mark has been sick most of the holidays, but enjoying watching the other fun projects. I'm glad you're finally better too, Mark. So there was like this confluence of things that came together that was like, maybe it's time to try building CircuitPython on top of Zephyr. Zephyr is this open source real-time operating system, which in and of itself is something we want. We want a real-time operating system under CircuitPython eventually. And then to sweeten the deal, it has a lot of networking stuff. So Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, Thread, I think, cellular, LoRa, like all sorts of stuff where it's like there's big honking stacks, and like having only one that we have to target would be really nice. It also has a lot of data about different development boards. So I'm also taking huge advantage of that too. Another thing so in my post, I have more things I'm interested in, like SD-RAM is something I'm really keen on. Basically like being able to support some more boards that have lots and lots of memory. Turns out Zephyr doesn't have a lot of examples for that because a lot of the people are using like it pretty constrained. Yeah, Phil says I use both Zephyr and CircuitPython, but I think of them as being at the opposite ends of the complexity scale. Yeah, so it's important to say that like by building CircuitPython on top of Zephyr, we don't want you to know that necessarily. We just want our job to be easier to bring it to new platforms. For example, I said I was going to work on Wi-Fi today, which I think we'll see how far we get. It took, I started working on it this morning, and I only finally got to the part where I'm like starting to do Wi-Fi stuff. It was more build stuff this morning, but yeah. So the idea is that like it should be CircuitPython still, but like under the hood, we'll have a lot of stuff that we just get for free or like don't need to deal with, that sort of thing, because Zephyr handles it. It does. I was thinking about it in terms of board porting though, and the boards could be a little trickier. Maybe we'll figure that out. DJ Devon 3 says boards with like 100 plus megabytes of RAM need to buffer all the things, intensifies. I'm not sure. The one that I have here that I picked up because I was excited about, this is the Daisy Seed on its like carrier board, but the Daisy Seed here has a 64 megabyte SD-RAM chip next to it, and then also like a SPI flash. Unfortunately, there's no Zephyr board definition I could find, so I can't just like quickly try it. I actually have to write the board def, which is kind of what I was just talking about, is like making board defs might actually get a little trickier by moving to Zephyr. But the advantage for me is that right now I'm taking in a Zephyr board definition and like auto-generating all of the board stuff that we would have in CircuitPython, all the pin mappings and stuff. Hi, Aaron. So I'm trying to add Wi-Fi support. What I've got, if I go to my bench is very cluttered, but I've got this board here, and you can see it's the NRF 7002 DK, and it's actually got three NRF chips, but this one, and then the debugger chip that's back here. And these two chips here are the NRF 5340 and the NRF 7002. The NRF 5340 we don't actually support in CircuitPython yet. and the 7002 we don't either. So the 7002 is a Wi-Fi coprocessor. You can think of it kind of as an airlift. Yeah, the challenge with doing the board definition for the Daisy Seed was also that they're not super public with all their pinouts of like their internal things, like what pins the SDRAM is connected to and stuff. I'd have to dig a bit more, and I didn't have the chance. Sneaky Maker says, what is the timeline for porting Daisy Seed to Zephyr CircuitPython? I don't know. When I get around to it. It's a H750, I think. I'm not sure I did the USB initialization stuff for that. So getting USB in working. So I got USB working with tinyusb. So maybe what I should do is do I have a desktop with? I don't. Sorry, I'm just checking on my desktop settings. Desktop with overhead. Oh, but there's a bench cam here. So I don't know if you can, it's pretty hard to see, but there is this blinking light right here. So that's like the board.led. So if I actually plug it in and I find another micro. Actually, this turned out this didn't work until like yesterday, but CircuitPython popped up and disappeared. No, this is it. So here's my blink. So if I do that and hit save, now it's blink. I know that's kind of hard to see, but the blink changed. So the actual workflow works over USB, which is cool. And yeah, I just got that working over this week. I had some errors in my flash caching code, and then I also had to get tinyusb going. And it's kind of a hack job. TAC is looking at proper Zephyr USB integration, but I have at least working on the NRF 5340. So it just like means my testing can be a lot easier by doing the workflow. If USB is not set up, we'll automatically fall back to just doing like the Zephyr UART console thing. And I was testing on, the U5. I have this like U5 board that I was trying, I think last week on the stream. I got USB working on this one as well, if I remember. This one has the challenge that it doesn't have flash that works. So it's kind of a couple of moving pieces. It's USB and RAM, like figuring out where to put in RAM, and I've improved that too. And then, but I'm gonna have to change it again with this stuff. Turns out there's not like one common heap that works very well. So, yeah. Yeah, the Daisy Seed, they're a little, like, download the schematic and then like it doesn't show anything. Okay, let me go back to the desktop with me. So this is cool, like the workflow is working on this board. I can also do, let me just show it here. So this is the serial. I made for a while, the unique ID wasn't working, so I made the unique ID work so that my TO, like the serial thing here would be consistent. It was like pulling bits from the stack, and so it was changing and not making it work very well. So here we can see that we're on the 7002 DK, and we can import board and do dir board to see all of the different settings we've got. I fixed this as well. So now we get a board.led. If there's a LED designation in the device tree, LED 0 designation, it will automatically add this LED without a number, and then the LED 0 and LED 1 are the ones taken, and these other names are all taken from the device tree. Trebisan on Twitch says, I know this is a bit off topic, but I figured I'd ask. I need your help. I need a super compact 4-port USB-C 3.0 MTT hub. We need individual high-speed USB lanes for camera feeds. I don't know USB-C hubs in enough detail to be able to tell you. I'll tell you, when I was looking at motherboards for my desktop, I was like trying to figure out how many root hubs and on what things they were for that similar reason. Like trying to figure out, you know, where the bandwidth originates from like the motherboard, from the CPU and stuff like that. Yeah, I wish they would actually tell you, you know, like on motherboards, they're just like, this is how many USB ports you have, but they're not telling you like these 3 are shared on the shared bus or whatever, right? So yeah, sorry, I don't know USB stuff that well. Hub question sounds like a good ask an engineer question. Yeah, more Lady Ada may have an idea, but that's pretty in the USB weeds, actually. And I've not been in those weeds before. I think pen. Oh, apparently that's not. Oh, microcontroller's not turned on. I had to turn on time, so time.sleep works now. And this actually calls k.sleep. So it'll actually sleep the thread. I had to turn collections on to make time work. And then GC mem free. Should show something now. I tweaked how the memory works. Okay, so this is interesting. There's an app called USB Tree View. It'll tell you which bus you're on. Is that on Windows or Linux? K-sleep. Yeah, that they like have the K underscore prefix for a lot of kernel functions. Windows. Yeah. So this is interesting. So GC memfree is only 90K now. It was like 400, but I think I've changed settings and now the like Zephyr heap is active as well. Whereas I'm setting up our heap to be the remainder of RAM. So it's just like kind of silly. Like they don't have, they have 2 different ways of, and I should thanks to Andy on the Zephyr Discord, but like I was asking, like they have mem attribute heap and they have shared multi-heap, and I was like, which one do I use, and like which one gets automatically used, and blah blah blah, and it's just like there's not great answers. Like there's no standard way of setting up multiple heaps. So right now I'm doing it myself. Okay, so let's get on to Wi-Fi. If anybody knows a Wi-Fi scanning example, I feel like I found one and then I can't find it now, which is frustrating. Like I found it on my phone maybe or something. But I was like trying to find just the like basic examples, and like if I go to Zephyr samples net, oh, you know where it might be? I was looking in net Wi-Fi shell, but this is like the worst thing ever. This is an example, a sample code, and look at this. This is all it is. It's like just enabling stuff and you're not actually getting any source. I'm just like, it's not helpful. But I think maybe it's under, there's also like net management. Subsys management, maybe? No. I thought I saw. Like I found a more reasonable Wi-Fi scanning example. Basic. I just search for Wi-Fi scan. Like, I don't want to use the shell. Not a CircuitPython scanning example, a Zephyr one. USB devices in general finally let me to reinstall Windows. DJ Dev3 says, never mind, Zephyr is way outside my wheelhouse. Yeah. When I get the interest to do it. Where did I find this? I found, maybe it was in the Zephyr examples. Like I remember finding an example that was pretty straightforward. I don't know. I've not been super impressed with all of the samples, but then again, I've not been in the basic ones. Yeah, like I don't want the shell. The shell doesn't have it. Like the one I remember, it was like it set a callback. Because the net management stuff is very weird. You have to like, oh my gosh, where did I find that? Zephyr Wi-Fi scan. Maybe it was something like this. Network management callback. And if get default. It's such a weird choice to do this thing where you just like Wi-Fi management, you pass in this thing. Oh, maybe it was here. Maybe it is this one. Enable AP mode, connect to Wi-Fi. AP interface and okay, that might be. No, I'm not going to view my recovery codes while I'm on a stream. I found one for the Nordic SDK Manager API. Okay. Get a network manager instance for a given name. Okay. We can also see if there's like macros for this thing. First, what we have to do is if we look at the build stuff, so my build's not even working yet because I don't have the Wi-Fi files. So first step we're gonna do, it's actually like, I think I've got all the blobs building and stuff, so we'll see. So what I'm gonna start with is I'm just gonna duplicate out of Espressif common hal Wi-Fi duplicate, and then that's gonna go in Zephyr CP. And it will probably, let's see, then I'm actually just going to comment that out because we actually might be... Like, I think there's an event handler for... Yeah, I want to comment it all out so I can get it working, and then I'll just re-implement it for Zephyr. Although if we need a separate thread, we might do that. Wi-Fi management. Hi, Beata. So this is something I commonly do when implementing a new module. Is that the one you were looking for? I'm not sure. I can't remember. I think it was late at night, and yeah, so I'm not sure. Monitor callback. ESP log, we're not going to have. Tag's not going to be used. I don't know, can we do monitoring? And if not, what do we do? Set channel. Network. This stuff I think is probably all the same. We'll give it a shot. Oh, I see. Set station mode. See, I don't know if we're going to be able to set which one. Set host name. Get MAC address. Set MAC address. That's a an example. Scan specification. I think this is the implementation. This is the bridge between like the vendor code and the standard thing, which is awesome that it has that. Get MAC address AP. Set MAC address for the AP. Start scanning. Right. I've been looking at the source for the I'm looking at the source for the USB drivers. Oh man, I have a lot. There's a lot in here. Well, I'm not going to worry about AP right now. And I know I was being optimistic. Part of what I wanted to learn from this is like the 7002 chip is pretty complicated. So by starting there, at least I like learn all of the build system stuff too. I think I've managed to avoid I managed to avoid having to use the Nordic SDK, which is good. Yeah, the source for Wi-Fi shell. That's not a sample. But yes, you're right. I wonder how much of this stuff is shared too, because another thing on my radar is Ethernet support. Like a lot of this stuff should be shared with Ethernet, which would be very cool. Get addresses. That's what it does. Come on. Copilot is my friend. All these getters and setters. You meant that instead of network manager is very abstract. If you implement that instead of specific things like Wi-Fi and Ethernet individually, you get actually loads of ways to do IP without needing specifically care about the transport. Yeah, LTE would be cool. That was one thing that Lamar was like, wait, we could do that. And I've held myself back from buying the Nordic wireless dev kit, but it's because it's like 150 bucks, but I'd probably pick it up at some point. Ping success callback. Hey, that's the last one. Scanned networks is probably pretty similar. Okay, let's see what happens if we just do it. Oh. So something in my Zephyr workflow leaves all these JLink GUI tasks going, and they just take 100% of my CPU. So like if I have more than 30, like all my CPUs are running. It's kind of ridiculous. Okay, how do we do? Radio 11. Oh, ESP event. Okay. And run it again. So this is a sysbuild now. So this is, I actually have it building the Bluetooth controller code as well to run on the second core of the 5340. Scanned networks, TOS. Radio event group. So first we're going to get it compiling with nothing here, and then we will try to start filling it in. I think generally our sockets are already targeting the BSD socket API, so that shouldn't be too bad. It's the network management stuff that I think is going to be a bit trickier. I was going to say, oh, we linked, but no. Network 11. Wi-Fi network. Yeah, I guess I was complaining about the shell as an example. Like it's not good example code because it doesn't have any code. Unless you're looking in the directory that's not under sample. That's my complaint. Like I just want like a basic, like the basic things the shell does should just be samples, right? Like scanning for Wi-Fi networks should just be a sample. Like this is something I try to really push with CircuitPython, like simple tests, right? Like very simple things. Like if you want a shell, CircuitPython's going to be that. Common house socket pool socket. Okay, so let's do the same duplication thing for socket pool, and we shouldn't have as much to change. Yeah, shells are super useful, but they should not be an excuse to not have a sample. Yeah, and like yeah. This. Look. Yeah, that looks pretty useful. Although I'm not going to be dealing with these Wi-Fi management APIs, I don't think. Although this is the no, this is the under the hood stuff again. No, I can't think of the like. It was I think it was just a scan where it would dump out the list of the networks. Right. It was a look Looking for for example code, and I can't remember where I saw it. I wonder, like, maybe it's open in a tab on my phone still. No. Not on my phone. Problem is that, like, when I'm browsing GitHub, I'm on the GitHub app. Okay, so let's see what happens now. Anything that's not in the sample directory is not a sample. Yes. Right, you want to interact with the Wi-Fi and network manager if you don't want to lose SOC abstraction, which I want the SOC abstraction. More and more of that, please. I wanted, as I was doing some of this stuff, like, I did the unique ID implementation, and I was just like, this could be the last time I ever implement this. And then there was, like, right next to it was like reset reason stuff, which I still haven't implemented, but like, oh, I could implement it one last time and be done with it, which would be cool. So I am still on board with what we're doing here. This is all socket select task. Oh, we're gonna have to figure all that out. Oh, wrong button. Made all my windows disappear. Maybe we don't need all this either. So I don't think, like, they don't use LWIP. They have their own thing. Mark user socket. Bind. I can't remember. I can't remember where. You know, maybe it was like the HTTP request or something. Like some related example. So I do want to try to get away from run background tasks. Like, I'd love to be able to, I don't know how much of that I want to do, but sockets is a reason to do it. Like, we have these run background tasks, and we could actually run background tasks in the background using threads. Oop. Find me a sample. Writable. Nope, it's not. Okay, let's see. Build again. What is the management command for starting a scan? We could look and see where all of the places that that's done. NetDB socketpool 14. What is just the... It was Wi-Fi management without WPA supplicant. Wi-Fi scan result. Where is this all used? Subsys tests. Wi-Fi shut down. Oh, this is, well, here's one. SDK NRF. This is probably what it is. SDK NRF samples Wi-Fi scan source main. Yeah, I think this is the one. Handle Wi-Fi and scan result. Frequency to channel. I have to be careful because this is under Nordic's weird license. But I think this is what I was thinking of. It'd be great to get... I haven't found a place that compares what's in Nordic's code versus regular. But yeah, I think this is what I had looked at. Which I guess I shouldn't. I don't even know what their license, their Nordic 5-clause license is. Come on, GitHub. GitHub has not been cooperating with me. Like maybe it's Firefox. FTK NRF. Nordic 5 clause. Must have the note. Must retain the above copyright notice except as embedded in a Nordic integrated circuit or software update. Can't use it to endorse. Yeah. This is what vendors do, which is so stupid. This software with or without modification must only be used with a Nordic semiconductor integrated circuit. This is why we have tinyusb, why we moved to tinyusb, is because of garbage like this. It's like, no, I'm not going to do it. So, somebody doesn't want to look at those, then add some basic examples here to Zephyr. Because I'm going to use it for more than just yeah, it's spread across callbacks. Okay, well, I'm not to that point anyway. Socket 9. This whole deep dive is going to be me commenting things out. But again, this could be the last time I have to deal with this. If I do it right. If I target not vendor-specific things. Yes. I mean, I think that's what Zephyr should do, but by the time we figure it out, like, I wonder if ChatGPT could do it. LWIP API is init. All this ESP adder stuff. Try it, ChatGPT. Okay. Let's take a look. Right. An example of Zephyr. Example, right? Example C code for scanning Wi-Fi channels with Zephyr RTOS. Please port CircuitPython to Zephyr. Easy as that. It's pretty quick. I don't know if it works at all. Oh, interesting. I'm not even logged in. What is this Wi-Fi scan thing, and does it actually exist? It may not. It loves to make things up. Oh. Is this a recursive call? Look, it generated a Wi-Fi scan function, and then it's calling a Wi-Fi scan function. Oh, yeah. Fail. I do really love Copilot, though, I'll tell you that. LWIP API init 11. I think I deleted it. I mean, sometimes it makes it up within, like, knowing what the right thing is, but that clearly is. It's way weirder than that. One thing I like is that you can sometimes when I get a result from ChatGPT like that, I think, yeah, that's how the API should look. That's what it should look like. Okay, we gotta copy SSL as well, because I tried to enable SSL. So I think this hopefully will be the last thing to stub out. But SSL is actually, I think, generic. Shared module SSL. So it's common hell SSL socket. Why is it? Oh, you know what? I think I might be going down an alternate timeline. Yeah, I think I have to define this too. Oops. So in my complicated build script, which is actually Python, I've got to define that as well. Doesn't look like anything uses that anymore. I think it's safe to just always set it. I was thinking I would come in on Tuesday with fresh eyes and start refactoring all this into something that I can PR by the end of next week. How's it called? The Wi-Fi scan. Yeah, tests can be good too. Mbed TLS SSL.h. I'm not sure we want to use this in the long run. Although I think Zephyr, don't we have it? Yeah. Oops. Live embed TLS. What does Sneaky Maker have going here? Daisy Seed. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it with the ST port. I'm gonna use the Zephyr port for it. But maybe, yeah, I guess you weren't talking to me. Monitor 10. This is when somebody needs to be like, you really should. hook up your build to the editor. I mean, if your board gets built by GitHub Actions, you should be able to get access to it, but they get deleted over time. So I don't know if they'd still be available. Okay. I would like to move background tasks out. That would be nice. Maybe I just move background tasks in their own thread too. And it's 7. Oh, I missed a lot of headers, didn't I? IPC, whoops, sockets, ESP log. Sorry, if I had gotten here, I could have done this earlier, but I didn't. I was too busy doing sysbuild stuff. All right, I'm gonna move this a little bit because it's tickling me. But yes, the pitch with Zephyr is that I only have to do this once. And then all of the Wi-Fi stuff supported by Zephyr is supported, and it would be cool if we could do then Ethernet. Like all of the socket stuff will hopefully be shared across Ethernet, or even stuff. Mentioned Cisco stuff a few times. What was that about? I don't think I said Cisco. Not sure what I was saying. The baby was up at 3 a.m. the last 2 nights, so a little bit. Struct sock adder storage. And socket pool. Sysbuild. Ah, Cisco. Yeah, sysbuild. So sysbuild is, it's kind of like another layer of CMake where it builds. In this case, what it's actually doing is it's building the code that runs on the control hardware, or the control core. So the NRF5340 has 2 cores, an application core and a network core. And the network core should be running a Bluetooth controller. Bluetooth controller code, which I don't actually need. But, 12. Wait, what file is that? Oh, it's in. my GitHub sponsors tax form. Make it further. No, I'm still in Socketpool. Socketpool 22. So we just always raise it. Maybe this is actually what I'm going to work on next week. I do think getting this board working before IPR means that like the build stuff will be better proven out because it's sysbuild. Yeah. System build. That's what it's short for. All right, we're in socket now, and we have lots of errors. I was a little aggressive in what socket keeps track of. So I think, actually, you know what? None of these look specific. So if I uncomment those out, I wonder how bad it is. So this first build that succeeds is the Bluetooth core, network core one. Okay. So we're in socket and we still have a lot still to go over. Resolve or throw. Again, we'll just do true. Hi, Relic. We're commenting code out today. Looks like what we're going to be mostly doing. Now accept. Oh, I've got my sound on. That was my notification, but to a different channel, so I can't see it. Bind adder. That might actually be something that yeah, this is going to be more work. What do folks think? Should I get this going, or should I actually try to get it merged in? Should I get Wi-Fi going before trying to polish it all up? There's not like a lot I'm actually blocking. And this is work I'm going to do regardless. But the longer I wait to get it merged in, the more I have pending And result I socket 33. It would be so cool though. I bet. I gotta figure out how that. Oh, here we go. Oh, that's a header file. Net context. Here we go. We can fix it this way too. Although, actually, we don't want either of these. Now that I see that sock adder thing there. It's not too much stuff, says Timon. DCD says, you mentioned that sysbuild is built on top of CMake. I was looking at the text files in CMake modules folder. There's over 100,000 lines of text. They invented a new interpreted language for. Yes, that's my beef with CMake, is that CMake has its own language. I think build system people will get hung up on the idea that they want it like perfect and isolated and not just a programming language. Sam says, re-Wi-Fi first or merge turn. It would be cool if the merge happens in a state where people can try adding more boards. So maybe whatever results in less churn. Yeah, I would like to add more boards. It's not clear to me how much extra board metadata we need. The only thing I can think of right now is USB vendor ID and product ID. We might need externally set. 269. Resolve 372. So to be a CMake master, I need to learn a new language and understand which libraries I need to add to my vocabulary. Yeah, I don't like CMake. Like I've said, I've long ago settled on just Python. Triggered. I mean, it is early days. I'm excited for Wi-Fi. That's one of the pitches, like theoretically be able to add other stuff. Socket connectable interval. 417 and 501. Yeah, like I was doing the Flash stuff and I just needed a mutex. I was like, oh, I'll just add a mutex. It's like, When you say Wi-Fi, which parts of the API would you need working? Scan, connect, and get a socket? I mean, that's the nice thing about the way that CircuitPython is structured, is that like I have like a bunch of C functions that I'm commenting out now, but I can just go one by one and implement. I'd probably start with scan, and then once I get scan working, I can, you know, use the Wi-Fi scanning example. I don't know what this is from. Oh, I commented out. 57. We'll just uncomment it. Yeah, I mean, it would be really cool. It'd be cool to have. And I did want to figure out the sysbuild stuff, because like you say, like before people start adding a bunch of boards, like getting everything set up so that it manages that sort of thing. Okay. Now we're in monitoring queues and stuff. So I'm just going to be more aggressive and commenting things out. Like this. I should have just commented out the whole thing. Return true. I don't know if Zephyr has monitoring. Get packet. Okay. You might want to think about having a global network manager instance that you interact with, and that wrapping things for specific things like Wi-Fi scan as all interfaces make use of network manager. Just be a lot of duplicate functionality in the end. Yeah, so inside of a port, you can factor things out, and like common functions you can call from them. So we'll see. Like, one thing to think about is like, if I do Wi-Fi, how hard is it to add Ethernet? Yeah. 227,000 lines of C++ code in the CMake source. Yeah, you want to see my Python build? I don't know if I've explicitly shown this off, but in this branch, I've got like my Python build system stuff, and it doesn't do header files. I've got to fix that. But if you go ports, Zephyr, cptools, cpbuild, like this is what I'm using for the build stuff, and it's 381 lines, and I need to figure it out a little bit. Shared abstraction on the CircuitPython side. It's always crossed my mind about how to manage, like, should we go more towards what CircuitPython or what regular Python does? Wi-Fi tidbits are just 3 to 4 extra stuff you request from net management. Yeah. Maybe. Right now we just have to do Wi-Fi. For Ethernet, a lot of these dev boards I have Ethernet on them. Like the RA8 has Ethernet. Yeah, I would just pick one of the dev boards I have that has Ethernet and is already, and like has all the device tree stuff already supported. Yeah, something with Ethernet in the Zephyr tree. Non-void function. Record. Network. Multi-cursor. Yeah, I mean, that's the nice thing about doing Ethernet after Wi-Fi is figuring out the stuff to factor out. I'm not going to change the networking API for CircuitPython, though. Like, I want existing code to work. 35. Oops. Like, I haven't really done I2C or UR or SPI either. One of the reasons to do Wi-Fi now is that this board is one I want to support. Like, we don't have support for the NRF 5340 at all. Yeah, we'll see. I'll see when I get there. Scan networks results. I thought I got it. Entry. Renew list. I like that it's all been vanilla Zephyr. Apparently the code that runs on the 7002 is binary blob though. I had to do like download the blob file, but it told me to do it, so it's pretty straightforward. I'm like, oh, I'll do this tomorrow. Wait, it's a 3-day weekend. Next week might be Wi-Fi week. I don't know. Either that or I should finish the build stuff. Like I said, I don't know exactly what board definitions mean in this Zephyr world. Entry 109. 126. 7000 series stuff does not take any firmware. It just has a radio firmware, which is unfortunately always a blob with every vendor. Yeah. Well, it was nice that the Bluetooth controller is not a blob anymore. That runs on the second core. Okay, we're back to non-void function. And we're back into radio. So I think in radio we could do all of this. Current scan. Is netif up? I wonder if we should just try to implement this. Packet layer is open, which is great. Ah, yeah. I'll take it as open as I can get. I was like digging in the settings and stuff, which is nice. Okay. Do I want to try implementing this? Current scan. I think if I get it compiling, then I can know. If I get it compiling, then as I add the Zephyr stuff, I can keep it compiling, which is nice. I didn't get them all. Let's see. It is a little silly that I'm doing a sysbuild, so I'm building a little bit of the other blob, I guess, still. Return scan 187. 100 is not returning anything. Maybe what we do for the network stuff is we, like you're saying, we factor out the common stuff and then make the Wi-Fi thing a subclass. Although I'm not sure native subclassing works that well. But 87. Like that way we would be compatible still. Set mode AP to find if it's not used. Yes, yes. One big reason for sysbuild was, as far as I know, it allows for linking in external blobs for parts like that. That's one of the main things why Nordic has their own fork and stuff. I'm on the TSC, which is like the Technical Steering Committee mailing list, and they're constantly approving binary blobs. I'm like, why don't you just have a policy about binary blobs and not have like to vote on it every time some vendor needs a binary blob? But I guess I don't know what the bar is, what they check. It's like, are they really going to say no to somebody bringing a binary blob in? Like, are all these other vendors already have? 469. These static ones get me. That was the only one, though. Like, once it compiles, we could actually load it and straight up copy the scanning example over, and then just literally like start from the top and implement from the top down into the scanning example. 497. Oh, returning to a non-function. In having it in the repo or not. Yeah, I had to do like a west command to pull the blob down, which was fine. I don't care. I'm not anti-blob, unless it means that I can't understand what's going on and things don't work. Wi-Fi init 40. Event handler. So again, like, should have just commented that the entire thing out. Oh, you know what? We probably want IP address on as well. I bet it will complain about that, maybe imminently. These as well. These are all like 3 different ways of storing IP addresses. When you say scanning example, do you mean a CircuitPython thing or a Zephyr thing? Yes, I mean a CircuitPython example. So once I get it, this is what I kind of like, the workflow that I like is like, I get it compiling, I can load it, and then I load the CircuitPython code in code.py and just can rerun and that's how I can implement things, right? Like I implement things in the order that my example I'm trying to get working does them. And then, because there's all these random things like getters and setters for subnet mask and stuff. And I don't actually care about that. Okay, so I think this, I don't know what this error is, but it looks like CircuitPython itself did okay. So if I do rf build, and then I don't do the make stuff, I just let it do Ninja and CMake, I think it does work. It's very weird. Like, CMake's supposed to work regardless of whether it uses make or Ninja. Yeah, run code.py, see what breaks, fix the first one, repeat. Yep. Or like, you know, put print statements in the debugging code. So like, oh, it's calling this C function and then that C function and this C function, and those are the ones I implement first. Is the bin file a binary blob or an output from your linking? I'm not sure which bin file you're referring to. I haven't been looking at a bin file that is a binary blob. We've just been talking about it. But yeah, a binary blob usually comes in as a bin, and it just says like, put me at this address sort of thing. The one that was mentioned in the error message. Oh yeah, it had to do with the binary blob for the NRF70. Okay, so we got to the linking phase. But our SSL stuff is not working. This means that we're not adding the source for... This is annoying. Because we have our own copy of mbed TLS, but I think Zephyr uses it as well. So if we look for this, release notes. My guess is that build. So this is where we can find, so there's like Zephyr has an mbed TLS module. So we should probably actually add their include. Like, I'm surprised it didn't work. Mbed TLS support, use Zephyr in tree. Initialize it. Link the app with mbed TLS. And certificate format. If I add in config mbed TLS. Am I? Yeah, I think I have it on. I do have it on. So I don't want to use our copy. I want to, like I've been saying, get out of the business. I want to do this, but I don't want to do this. I'm going to do a clean build. It's going to be a little slower, but I think I added it already. I think I'm ahead of you. I did that earlier. No? I think it is on. SSL. Zephyr has its own copy of mbed TLS. It is in lib. No. did I find that? Modules. If I look this way, lib Zephyr modules. Oh, you know what? This is how it's. Well, let's see. It's spitting out the big long command that it's doing. Like we should be passing all of the includes. Modules lib host AP port mbed TLS. Huh. That makes sense? Oh, come on. Ah! Zephyr modules host AP source what? Isn't that what it was? Debug set threshold. Zephyr modules mbed TLS. I wonder if they changed it. I'm not using their main branch. Mbed TLS. Not there. Oh, it is there. The source itself is still in a submodule. Is that in modules? Is that why? Yeah. Modules crypto. Huh. But why is the include path that I'm getting lib host AP port? Modules lib host AP port. Isn't that what it says? Modules host AP lib host AP port mbed TLS. PSA API. Tools. I don't have it in tools. If and when Zephyr works, will I notice any difference in using CircuitPython? Is this all of this only for the core stuff? Yeah, I think will I notice a difference? We should support more stuff, but it should work the same or better. Yeah, the West workspace stuff is confusing too. calls it open thread expressive. Crypto embed TLS. Like that seems like what I want. Let's dig in the menu config again. Modules. Embed TLS. Like link app. It may be disabled if the include paths for embedded TLS are causing an aliasing issue. Like it says it is defined, but I'm getting lost. Let's clear and build again. Just about out of time. Tools, net tools. No, I didn't. Embed TLS. But why am I not getting an include path for it? Like the only one I'm getting is for this host AP port embed TLS. But it claims that I should be getting more include paths. Which I thought I would get, like I'm getting a ton of stuff that way. But I'm not, it's not giving me the include path for the modules, which might be my hacky CMake stuff. Includes includes directories. System includes for directories as strings. Let's see if there are any other examples next to this. Extensions. Like I got it from this sample. Oh, maybe it's because I'm not. It's the app, not system compile definitions. I wonder if I can print out the, like I'm a sub project. I need to link the sub project against it. But the external object. Target include directories. How does that work? Modules, embed TLS CMake. Built in. Add regular includes. Like, I feel like that should... Oh, embed TLS. You think that in here, where was it? Extensions.cmake. I'm doing it for a Zephyr interface. Get include directories from... Convert list of flags to string of flags. Get property, target, not Zephyr interface. Like, I bet this needs to be mbed TLS. You should not need to worry about linking against it manually. It doesn't get pulled in, then something wrong with CMake configuration side. Right. The thing I'm getting is that it is not giving me the include pass for it. Right, but let's see. If I do build Zephyr CP, then we look at Ninja, and we look for Zephyr main. We have all of these defines. Flags. Includes. Modules, crypto, embed TLS, and embed TLS configs, and modules, embed TLS. So we're not getting all of the include flags of everything. We're only getting it for, so the thing is that, like, I'm using external I'm doing a trick to make an external project, and it's including the Zephyr interface stuff, but it's not including them. No. The command I'm running for the compiler doesn't include the paths to where the includes are for embedded TLS. Because I'm doing the trick that they do in the example, which calls this thing to say, like, hey, get that stuff. So we export all the flags using the Zephyr build to the external build system. But I actually need more than that. I need it for all the modules too. Like, this is not enough. It's not working. External project. Build products. Add dependencies. Target link libraries. I wonder if I... Yes, I'm not getting it passed into the CircuitPython build system because I'm copying this example and it's getting all of the include paths, but only for the Zephyr interface. Gordy says, is Zephyr here the RTOS or something else? It is the RTOS. I am in the build system weeds, and I don't think I'm going to get out before we finish. But I did make some good progress with getting it almost building, I guess. Almost building. Working on getting Wi-Fi support built on top of Zephyr into CircuitPython. I got to pee again, so I'm going to wrap up. Thank you to everybody for hanging out here while I comment things out for 2 hours. This is how it goes. And the reason I like Deep Dive is because I can show you every little step that I do. So this has been another Deep Dive. I should be here next week, assuming everyone's healthy enough to go to daycare. This is Adafruit pays me to do this work and work on Zephyr and CircuitPython, so support them by going to adafruit.com, purchasing hardware there. If you want to hang out with us on the Discord, right here, the URL is adafru.it/discord. That'll get you in there. And a preemptive thanks to DCD for who takes time codes when they're available. And thanks to everybody for cheering me on with the Zephyr stuff. So have a great night. I can go to the window just briefly because it looks a lot better now that the sun's not quite as glary. But the sun was out.